Hey guys, so I can't believe it's finally October. I feel like I have been waiting for October since, I don't know, March maybe? Hands down, I love autumn the most out of all the seasons. I know people love summer and people love winter, but I'm an autumn. I'm not, I almost said I'm an autumn baby, but I'm not. My birthday is not in autumn. My birthday is in the summertime. But I love autumn. I love the coziness that the weather changes and the leaves fall. I mean, I'm that kind of person. I mean, I named my channel Cozy Writing Channel because I love that coziness that comes with autumn. So October and November here in North America, totally my sweet spot. I love these months. So the goal is and has always been to read a book a week, which gives me 52 books a year. Now, I never seem to be able to read more than that because if I pick a long book, sometimes it takes me longer than a week to read, and I pick a short book, it takes me less than a week to read, and it always seems to even out. No matter what I do, I never can break past that 52 books a year. So this month, I thought I would talk about the ones that I had picked for October. And I'm actually really excited about a lot of these because two of them were pre-orders and they just came in like in the last 2 weeks, and I have been very good. I have not put down the book I'm currently reading to pick up these, and I consider that a win in in willpower. So the first one is a little one, but it's a doozy. It's In the Nightwood by Dale Bailey. Now this book, it may look small, but the type is very close together. It's very small. There is a lot of story packed in these few pages. I have already started reading it, so I can say with confidence that it's going to be a longer read than it looks like. It comes in at 214 pages, and it's interesting. This book has been out for a while. Maybe it wasn't taking off and they went through a rebranding because this is not the original cover that I bought. And you know what's weird? I had been looking at this book for a while, right? And I was sure that I had it somewhere in my library, but I just couldn't find it. And I was searching, I was finally like, okay, maybe I didn't actually buy it. Maybe I only thought I bought it. So I bought this copy of the book. And the day I bought it and I went to go put it on my bookshelf, yeah. The first copy I bought of this is 3 books down from this book. So I now have 2 copies of In the Nightwood. So hopefully it's a good book that I own too. And I can give somebody as a present, I don't know, another copy of it. And at least hopefully then I can recommend it and say it was really good, it would really fit your interest, you know, etc., etc. So In the Nightwood it's one of those kind of, it has like a classic premise in that this American couple gets a notice that, in this case, it's the wife, turns out to have inherited this big estate over in England. And they go over and kind of terrible things ensue. I mean, this is a plot that has happened in many movies. I've read a couple books just like that. In fact, the reason I wanted to read this is it sounds very similar to a book that I read several years back, and it's in my library somewhere, but I don't remember the name. I will have to go dig it up and put it in the comments, listen to me, in the description so you can see what the book is. But they sounded very similar. In the book that I read that sounds like this, it's 2 brothers return home to a manor in England that their father was at, and their father was obsessed with the wood that borders their manor. And it's the same situation with this. A very old, scary wood borders, or is on the land, borders the house in this novel. And in the, I don't know how to describe them because I don't remember the first novel's name. But in that older one that I read, the 2 brothers come home and one of them slowly becomes obsessed with the wood too. And then the younger brother is trying to figure everything out. He's trying to figure out why his older brother and his father are, in his mind, going insane. And what is it about the wood that's driving them insane? And there's a lot of peculiarities. I'm not even sure I said that right. About this wood. I remember one instance where the brother hires someone to take him up in a plane, thinking that he doesn't even know how big this wood is. Maybe he'll get some aerial photos of it, and so at least he can start mapping it out and just see how large it is. But when he goes up in the plane and they're flying over and he's trying to get a picture, suddenly this like thunderstorm rises up and they can't get a clear picture, and they have to do an emergency landing because it's unsafe. And it's just really strange things happen in those woods. So In the Night Woods sounds similar. So a husband and a wife duo have fallen on hard times. The wife gets a letter that she is the last remaining heir of this big estate in England. So they go over, they move in, and strange shit starts to happen. I'm not quite sure that this is a horror movie. I believe it's just dark fiction. But it seems like it might actually have some of those elements that might be good to read in October, with Halloween and all that. So the next one on my list is one I have actually been waiting for a while. I've had it on pre-order for, I'm not even sure, at least several months. It just arrived, I think, last week. No, a week and a half ago. But I had ordered this thing back in either early summer or late spring. So it is the Dead in the Dark, and I really love the cover. I love the way, I don't know, is that smoke? Is that ink? I don't know. I like the style. It's really pretty. This one is more of a YA book. It seems like it's basically two teenagers are kind of solving a ghost mystery. And that kind of makes it sound like Scooby-Doo, but I'm getting more of, I don't know, almost a Twilight vibe from it. Maybe it's just the fact that it's set in Oregon. But there's ghosts, and these ghost hunters show up. And the two teenagers, which happens to be one, the daughter of the ghost hunters, and then a local, kind of try to get together to figure out what's going on with this town in Oregon. So it's definitely more YA themed. It's not going to be like In the Nightwood where it's adult dark fiction. This one seems to be more along the lines of, one of my favorite books right now is Dark and Shallow Lies. And that is definitely more of a YA, supernatural, teens dealing with magic in the southern bayou. And this one kind of gives me the same vibes when I read an excerpt and when I'm reading the back cover. It definitely gives me that supernatural YA vibe that's not like going into like fairies and werewolf stuff, but it's more just sitting in like I want to call it magical realism, but it's not. Magical realism has a very specific meaning, but it's more like maybe modern supernatural is the best way to say that. So super interested in reading this one. Now, next on my list is one that is a recommendation from a very good friend of mine. It's Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon, and I admit I have never read a book by Rivers Solomon. Sorry, I have a very, very good friend, and if any of you listen to the podcast, I actually interviewed her, several months ago now, and she was telling me about how one of her favorite authors, I guess at the moment, was Solomon. And it's not just the way that my friend was describing how the books were, and then the themes of the books just sounded really interesting. So I bought like 3 of them, and this is the first one I'm actually cracking into. So this one I'm cheating a bit. I've had it on my bookshelf and I just hadn't gotten a chance to read it yet, and I decided finally that October was the first month that I was going to read one of these. So Sorrowland it's not YA by any means. I don't think there's a teenager in sight. It's definitely like a dark adult supernatural story. I believe like the blurb actually calls it like a modern gothic fiction, so it's going to have those like somber overtones. It's about a woman who escapes from a very strict religious compound. She's 7 months pregnant. She goes into the woods. She gives birth to twins. And then the blurb starts talking about like unnatural changes start happening, and she unleashes power. So Sorrowland definitely gives me like Annihilation vibes, if any of you have read Annihilation, where strange things happen in a countryside, And I'm not sure why this book is giving me Annihilation vibes. Maybe it's that there's like mushrooms and stuff on the cover, and it's very like somber, and it may not be anything like Annihilation. In fact, I'm not sure any book could be like Annihilation, because that book was just, it was wonderful and beautiful, but that book was its own thing in its like own little genre. Like, I can't even compare it to anything else. I think that book was so unique. But in any case, my very good friend recommended River of Solomon, and she said they were just beautifully written. So I'm super looking forward to Sorrowland, finally to sink my teeth into some of that prose, and I want to know what's going on in those woods. I didn't realize I had a theme going on here for October, but I've definitely somehow built a theme without even realizing it. So the last book that I'm going to read is something that I am, I don't know, beyond obsessed with. I don't get obsessed with many books. There are a small handful of ones that I read over and over and over and again. And I think this series is going to be one of those series. Now, it is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. I was actually introduced to Naomi more than a decade ago. I mean, probably going on maybe 20 years. That sounds like a really long time. I first read her Majesty's Dragon series. I didn't read the whole series. I read the first maybe 3 in it. I think she was writing them at the time, so I didn't know there was that many. And they were okay. There was nothing wrong with them. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was good. It passed the time. I moved on to the next book. And the author's name did not stay in my mind. Like, I didn't love it so much that I remembered her name. So when I came across the first book in this series, completely on a whim, by the way, like, I just kind of picked it off a shelf and go, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's read that. I didn't recognize the author as the one who wrote Her Majesty's Dragon. So I read the first book in the series, which was A Deadly Education. And I just, this whole video is about me reading a book a week. Well, I read A Deadly Education in probably about 48 hours. It wasn't small. It was about this size, just average. I mean, the print is neither large nor small. It's just, average sized book of this genre. I don't know how to describe that. But it was so good, so captivating that I just flew through it. I ate it up. So much that I finished it. And the very first thing it said after I closed the book, I reached for my phone and I ordered the next book. I didn't even try to go to a bookstore to find this. I just wanted it immediately. I had to keep reading. But that book wasn't going to arrive for a couple days because I ordered it on Amazon, so it was going to take like 2 to 3 days to arrive. So I then went and bought the Kindle version so I could start reading it immediately. I liked it that much. So I blew through the second book, which was, what was it called? The Last Graduate or something about a graduate. So as soon as I was done with the second book, I immediately went to looking for the third book, hoping to just keep reading. And unfortunately, the third book was still being written. So I had to wait for like a year. So I immediately pre-ordered it because it was available for pre-order, and it just arrived last week, and I'm so excited about it. I know I've just gone through this stack of books saying I'm excited about reading each one of those. I mean, the excitement to read those books pales in comparison to this book. I guarantee this will be the first one I read, and I'll probably finish it in a couple days, again, if the trend holds true. So this whole series is a bit Harry Potter-ish. I mean, I say ish. Harry Potter has that kind of sweet coziness thing going for it. I know it gets dark in points, but overall, the Harry Potter world to me feels like a knit sweater. Like, it's just, I like it. I like being inside it. And this series by Naomi Novik is only similar in the fact that there is a magical school where magical children go to learn magic. That's it. Those are the only things that are the same. This particular series is dark. It's dangerous. There are no teachers at this school. And the magic in this world has made monsters, and the monsters are drawn to the magic. They want to eat the magic, and therefore they want to eat the children. So the school is there to protect the children while they're learning magic. but it's constantly being invaded by monsters who are trying to eat them. So there's this overtone of impending death all the time, which makes for a really tense, really fast read. So this book, The Golden Enclave, actually is going to take place after the main character is out of school, and I don't really know what to expect from it. I'm realizing this now as I'm staring at the camera. I'm not really sure what to expect from it. I mean, the part that had me coming back to the other books was that school aspect of there's evil. I'm not sure I can call it evil. The monsters are just monsters. I don't know if the monsters are evil per se. They're just trying to do what their instinct says, which is to eat children. That sounds awful, but I'm not really sure what to expect from this novel. Given the title, I'm assuming that the main character is going to try to build an enclave. Now, in this universe, enclaves are magical places where magical people live that protect them from the monsters out in the world. It's like if a witch, or I'm not sure if the boys are called wizards. I don't remember. I'm going to call them wizards, but I apologize if that's not what they're actually called. So if a witch or a wizard or a magical person is out alone in the world, then they're going to be attacked by monsters. Just kind of like constant barrage of this monster trying to eat them, to eat their magic. So what the magical people in this universe have done, they've banded together in communities, and there are several of these communities scattered throughout the world, and they are then protected because they band together. They use their magic to protect each other from the magic, and then they can raise their children in relative safety. So what I think this main character is going to do is going to try to build a new enclave. And that sounds really interesting. And there were some things going on in the world, if I remember correctly, the enclaves were getting attacked and whole enclaves were disappearing. So there's already a layer of tension built into it. And as soon as I finish the book I'm reading right now, I'm going to jump into this one. I'm super excited. So at the end of the month, I will review one of these books from the stack. If you have one of these books that you would really like me to talk about, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to talk about that one. Otherwise, I'll just pick one. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on my next blog post where I pull my hair out about writing my novel and all the problems I'm having. Right now, I currently don't know how it ends, and that's a big problem considering the ending is like 2 chapters away. I used to know how it ended, and now I don't, and I'm just freaking out a little bit. Last week was this whole big thing where I didn't know what I was doing. So there's that.